Hey, everybody, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce and welcome my friend D. Orlando Ledbetter, now officially former, it's kind of odd to say that, NFL beat writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, who you just turned in your laptop, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Man, that's first of all, welcome again. And second, it's a high honor to have you here. But third, what did it feel like to turn in your laptop?
I'm just glad I'm not getting escorted out the building. So I did, I did all the, went through all the files and put them on flash drives and deleted anything I think I needed to delete and gave them back their computer. So we're, separation, buyout type of deal. So it's their computer. I gave it back to them.
Let's help me clarify some things because I was reading some Reddits about you, and as would be expected for a person who was never shy about their opinions, there are people who are, cheering, and there are others who are sad and everything else. But some have the view that you were being fired and you weren't. Tell us the story of what's going on.
Yeah, we they had some separation agreements at the AJC. They're announcing layoffs after publishing the paper for 157 years. They stopped publishing on January 1, and a couple months later, February the 4th, they announced they were going to be doing a reduction in staff. So that was expected. We just had one in September of the year before. And so they notified people that were getting fired. And then they, I don't know if anybody else, but I was brought in to discuss option one, a buyout deal, or option two, staying with the Falcons and staying on the beat. They knew I wanted to stay until the Super Bowl in 2028. So, after mulling it over and discussing things with my wife, we chose option one, which was the money and covering the Super Bowl in 2028. So it was mutually decided upon agreement. They certainly wanted me to come back. It was gonna make it just as good to come back and cover the team while they were moving towards a more subscription-based fan style page. So, I could do that. I was had weighed on it heavily, but elected to go on and move on to the Act 3 here in my wonderful journalism career.
And as I wrote, and I stand by, Zennie 62 Media will make best efforts to give you the package we feel you deserve based on your stature, because it's my personal observation, and I think you know how I feel privately about the direction of media, that there is not an approach that has been applied to reporters, but ironically, it has been applied to influencers. But here's the weird thing. You're the ultimate influencer. It makes absolutely no sense, D, that someone would say, oh, well, we're going to bring in 160 influencers to cover the Super Bowl. And yet, if you go around to everybody, even in their own areas of the country, they've never heard of them.
Right.
And yet
right.
everybody knows who you are, even if they're not sure they've heard, they know you, they know they've heard your name.
Right.
That's an influencer. That's, so what's going on with news and the way reporters like yourself are being handled, particularly at the NFL level, with all that visibility, even by the league itself, is absolutely nuts to me. And so I'm using this as a platform to prove a point, a value about people, a value about history, and about how people in history really drive information more than anything else. And by presenting you a package that I think you're going to be difficult to turn down, I believe we can do it. So I'm just honored you're giving me the opportunity to do that.
Well, I look forward to that, and I certainly appreciate the respect and dignity that you all are putting forth, and hopefully we'll be moving forward here in the future.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. And so, how did it make? You've had a illustrious career. I'm going to read the Wikipedia about you, which is a good start. Although I think I'm probably going to adjust it as I go along. D. Orlando Ledbetter reads began his journalism career with Howard University's student newspaper, The Hilltop. He followed that with a stint at the Charlotte Observer from 1984 to 1986, writing about high school sports. After college, he joined the Cincinnati Enquirer. While there, he covered the Cincinnati Bengals, Ohio State football, and basketball and high school sports. From 1992 to 2000, D worked at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, covering Milwaukee Bucks and Marquette University basketball, while also serving as columnist. He joined the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in 2003 and has covered the Atlanta Falcons since the 2005 season. D is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame Selection Committee, including the Hall's Senior Committee, and he served as the 26th president of the Football Writers of America during the 2013-2014 seasons. And recently, D was honored with the Bill Nunn Memorial Award from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, to which I, again, applaud you as I have you before me. And regularly, people turn to you on 92.9 The Game more times than I can count. And you're sought after for review on the Falcons and their ownership and players. And you've made conversation by what you say as water cooler place in our cultural lives. You're part of the Atlanta culture. So during that time, what to you is the most memorable event over your time?
Yeah, certainly it was the Michael Vick dogfighting trial, which, split the community, decimated the team, and hurt him. He hurt he went to prison in Leavenworth, where, that was pretty big there early in 2007. And went into that season. It was just a bizarre year. But from there, things got better. Matt Ryan came. They turned into a winning football team, a competitive team that regularly went to the playoffs. And then that stopped for a couple years. They switched to Dan Quinn. He got them to the Super Bowl. They were a contender for a couple years there. And then since then, didn't plan properly for the transition from Matt Ryan. And, it's been tough sledding since 2017 as they've ran through three coaches here, pretty fast, in the post-Matt Ryan era. Arthur Smith, and then, Raheem Morris, and now you got a new coach here. So it's been tough sledding for the Falcons. They might have stayed with Quinn too long. To 220. The drafting started to decline once he had control of it. Dimitrov did a great job with it, and then they had to build it back up from the bottom, and they haven't quite gotten there yet. So it's been kind of the glory years of the Falcons, low point in the franchise history, to the glory years in probably the franchise's history, to back to the regular old Falcons who struggled mightily from 66 to late in the 70s, and then again there in the 90s, until Dan Reeves got here. So franchise hasn't had a winning history, but it's been pretty colorful to write about and comment about the team and the players and the situations they found themselves in.
There are two places I want to go. The first one is, my question is, what was the hardest column or take, or both, you ever had to issue?
Yeah, it was from Richmond, the day that Michael got sentenced. When you heard the judge, he was a pretty tough judge, strict judge up there, read out the sentence. They're taking him away in shackles in a black and white jumpsuit. That was pretty tough. Otherwise, things on the field, they had some pretty exciting wins, a chance to go to the Super Bowl, but Navarro Ballman, just waylays Roddy White on like the 6-yard line.
Yeah.
And, should have been pass interference, but it was in the contact zone. So Roddy's got to either run through that or Matt's got to go somewhere else. They blew a 17-point lead and didn't go to the Super Bowl that year. It was the 49ers and Colin Kaepernick going against the Ravens.
Yep.
So that was pretty remarkable football stuff. And then there again, beating the Packers really, really bad in the last game in the Georgia Dome to go to Super Bowl 51. And of course, Super Bowl 51, they're up 28-3. And, we're writing about the parade down Peachtree Street. And then things changed. And they didn't pull it out. So, yeah, it's been a lot of really good highlights, a lot of good things to write about the Atlanta Falcons.
And, take us back to Michael Vick, because my mother to this day still has some animus toward the Atlanta Falcons because of the whole Michael Vick issue. How, because you experienced and when it was going on at that time, I was in Oakland, but being around here, you can literally feel Michael Vick's presence to this day. Mm-hmm. How powerful was Michael Vick's as an event in terms of the Falcons drafting him and his historic rise from that in the culture of this region?
Yeah, no doubt. It was impactful from the very beginning. I'm driving down South Cobb Drive. I know where I was when I heard the news that they had traded up to the number 1 pick, and we knew all that year that was Michael Vick. So the city was excited before the draft even got here. And once he got picked, they got, it was the place to be. At that point, they weren't selling out the Georgia Dome. They had to drop the tickets to $30 a ticket. A season ticket was $300, and everybody bought them. So all of a sudden, you go from the blackout era where the games used to be blacked out to the Georgia Dome's full for the first time on a regular basis. And so, Atlanta folks know how to throw a party. And, so the tailgates got going and people learned how to tailgate. And Northside Drive would be, full of smoke and rappers out there, Young Jeezy and, all the folks from the vibrant music scene were on hand to see Michael Vick do his thing. And he didn't disappoint. He didn't play right away. And then he got hurt. Then he took him to the championship game in 2004 season. And so everybody was all in. It wasn't no more half-full stadiums. And then, right before the draft in 2007, we kind of get word that, there's a federal dogfighting investigation. They had just traded Matt Schaub to Houston. If they'd have held on to Matt Schaub, they might have been able, okay.
Yeah, I remember.
And if Mike had went clean and told Arthur Blank what had happened, it might have been another way to handle it, So,
that really hurt Mr. Blank's feelings, huh? More so than I think I realized. Am I right?
I do believe so, because he likes investing in his players. He likes to make sure they have what they need to succeed. Some people got rubbed the wrong way when he was rolling Michael on the field when he was broke. He had his broken injury. I forget if it was foot or leg or knee, but I know it hurt in the Ravens game in the exhibition season. Everybody knew that season was over. But Mr. Blank was invested owner, who wanted to, give his players the best chance to win. And that really hurt him a lot that, that this situation went the way it did.
Do you feel like the Atlanta Falcons successfully moved on from Michael Vick in the right way or the wrong way? Here's where I'm going with this. It seemed like after Michael Vick, they're almost shying away from having a black quarterback, and yet there are more and more talented black quarterbacks coming in. Or am I reading the situation the wrong way?
Yeah, no, they that year they had Brian Leftwich come in late. They went to Joey Harrington. That didn't work out. Ended up at Chris Redmond. So they brought Leftwich in right away. And they had Dominic Davis backing up Matt Ryan after that. And they tried to get Deshaun Watson after Matt Ryan was done. So and then of course they have Michael Penix now. So yeah, that doesn't hold up. They haven't shied away from black quarterbacks. But nobody knows about Dominic Davis, but the folks that were here. But he was a good backup for Matt from East Carolina. Leftwich was here real hot. Wasn't here long. He was, just trying to do better from Joey Harrington under Petrino. So, and then, of course, they went all in, and they're in on Michael Penix now as their quarterback of the future, at least under the old staff, and we'll see if that's the case under Coach Kevin Stefanski moving forward.
Your thoughts on Stefanski? Can he get it done?
There's nothing that he did in Cleveland that says he can. There were some bright spots. He started off the first year, went to the playoffs, played Kansas City tough, but, they didn't have enough players. And 2 years later, he goes back to the playoffs in a season where he played 5 quarterbacks. So some coaching went on that year. And then after that, it's nothing. Cleveland had a good defense. Schwartz ran that. The offense was shut down. He had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt at one point. Had Baker Mayfield ran him off, or Baker ran himself off. However, you want to do it. And then the Watson deal blew up in their face. He was coming to Atlanta. He was a former Falcon ball boy, and he had some baggage at the time. But Cleveland went with the unprecedented, fully guaranteed contract, which nobody's followed since. And then the long suspension, the injuries, and that's just been a whole bad deal up in Cleveland. So, but he was well respected. He was well thought of around the league. 7 teams tried to interview him, so 7 teams think he could coach, or at least they wanted to talk to him about coaching. And but I go on the record. And he wasn't a winning coach in Cleveland.
Yeah, and so now, and I want to shift gears a little bit from that, because as much as you're part of Atlanta culture, you have a fingertip feel for the rivalries, particularly something that kind of escapes me, being an outsider. The Saints-Falcons rivalry is absolutely friggin' insane. Why?
Yeah, because they both came into the league at the same time, and they both were bad for a long time together. And a lot of people from New Orleans moved to Atlanta, and vice versa. People from Atlanta moved to New Orleans. So a lot of family relationships. And when those games come, back during the Michael Vick era, you might see 10 buses coming in from New Orleans straight up Northside Avenue, and they get out of the buses and do the second line all the way into the stadium. So, those are some festive games. It didn't matter if they were 2-10 or 10-2, but those games have always been highly contested and will continue to be. It's the South's version of Pittsburgh, Cleveland, or the Cowboys, Washington. But those games are amazing.
I got to ask you if Jameis Winston could ever be the Atlanta Falcons quarterback, considering when he was considering he was a Saints quarterback, he threw for what? 227 yards and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to torch the Falcons in an amazing comeback. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he could never. Well, you could say that, but then even if you know the history, and he ran up the score on the Falcons, and got Arthur Smith fired in his final game. But you can say that, but in the history of the rivalry, there have been a lot of cross-pollination. Bobby Hebert was a Falcon and a Saint. Morton Anderson was a Falcon and a Saint. The great Joe Horn ended his career in Atlanta. Now, Jonathan Vilma had a chance to end his career in Atlanta. They were like, hey, come on up to the mandatory minicamp. He was in Miami, and he's like, he didn't want to come. He didn't want no parts of being a Falcon. So he retired. And then when you see him do the Falcons games on television, you could tell he had no love for the Falcons. But there has been a lot of guys that have went on both sides of the ledger. in the Falcons-Saints rivalry.
And you were also here just as Katrina happened, yes, or right around
yes, we're there for that. The block kick and everything that used to go over to the third and fifth wards, and went that first year we right afterwards and did a tour, and you would see the markings on the steps, and it was really eerie what happened in New Orleans.
Yeah, and then it was wild to me that the Falcons became like the rallying cry for the Saints on that famous Monday Night Football game. And I thought, oh my God, one day the Falcons are going to get their revenge in some kind of way. Did that day actually happen, or are we still waiting for that?
No, it might have happened. I think it's 08 or 09 when they got them on a Monday night game. First play of the game. Their problem was they couldn't get to Drew Brees.
Right.
So what they did on the first play of the game, they sent like everybody. And Thomas DeCoux just lit Brees up, jacked him up in the air, and the Falcon fans went nuts. And it was Sean Payton just stomping around. He's mad. Man, it was amazing. And that was the get back after the year after the block kick in the Katrina game. So that score was evened out. There would be later fights later on about the Saints saying that they defecated on the 50-yard line at the Georgia Dome.
Did they?
No, there was no evidence. No
evidence of that.
But yeah, it was this rumor, and all the TV cameras now, we would have caught that. But it was always something. Then you got Sean Payton giving the choke sign to Devontae Freeman the year after the Super Bowl, and that's online. So yeah, it's always something when these two teams get together. It's amazing.
Well, hey, so do you have a secret idea that you can share as to why Sean Payton really left the Saints?
No, it was. I think they won. They ran his course there. They had a tumultuous time. With the accusations, Bounty Gate. That was Greg Williams' thing. There was some prescription drug issues and so forth. Coaches staying up all night and trying to, be as healthy as they can. He probably needs to step away and, get himself together. I saw him at the combine recently. He looks good, relaxed. Denver's doing him well, it looks like. That was, they were going at it pretty hard in New Orleans, trying to get another Super Bowl for the city. Kicking that salary cap down the road. Now they're finally dealing with it. But Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, that Thomas Dimitro's down there now, and he told me he's just amazed. He's like, they did this here. So I was like, yeah, Tom, that was pretty amazing. They did it there in New Orleans. Not one of the biggest cities in the country. Probably don't have the best facilities. Don't have the best weather to train in. That's why they would go to West Virginia every year. So, the Saints, Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton did a great job for the Benson family in New Orleans.
Hey, I got to ask, now that you are around but not with AJC, do they have a Saints writer at all? I mean, Saints Falcons writer at all? Is it?
Yeah, the Saints, they've, both teams have stocked up their internal media. They call in their Atlanta Falcons.com people. They had 2 reporters. They had 3. Now they got 2. And so, they write all the happy team stuff. The Saints got a couple and a columnist, John DeShazer, very respected former newspaper man. But, teams have gotten towards the in-house stuff. You got Jeff Duncan down there for the Advocate, longtime columnist. And they've got beat writers for the Picayune and the Advocate. Here in Atlanta, you got beat writers for the Athletic and the ESPN, but they don't cover it like a beat.
Right.
They're trying to do the high level stuff and get the clicks. And then
you're really the last of the Mohicans then. You're last.
Yeah, I'm one of the last beat writers, the real beat writers. I mean, John McClain's gone, retired. Wow. Teams are like, why do we got to cover the team, basically? They want to get clicks and write about the helmets. Oh, they got red. They got new uniforms. Yeah, it's gonna be different the way football's covered moving forward. And we'll see. If there's still a lane for the traditional draft preparation. Instead of all the hot takes, let's break down the best quarterbacks from 1 to 10 and take a look at all the kids from the area. Let's go to the pro days and do all that, or are we just gonna yell at each other about the helmets looking shiny or not?
Yeah, which is really sad. Absolutely. I got to ask you, of all the moments you had the opportunity to experience, including going overseas and everything else, what was the high watermark where you just pinched yourself and said, "Yeah, I'm here"?
It was the Super Bowl. We're all together. We had a group of about 22 people there in Houston, and I'm getting ready for the game. I did a hit with WSB Atlanta and Tom Kern from New England Sports, and I was like, "Wow, this is it." Your team's in the Super Bowl, and you're the main beat writer. And yeah, I walked proudly into the stadium that day.
With your hat and bow tie.
Yes, hat and bow tie, and was all ready to go. I knew the Falcons were going to play them tough, and it was just a matter of if they could last, because they had 9 of the 11 starters were first or second year guys. So you knew they were going to play, but you didn't know if they could play the whole 60, 70 minutes, and turned out they couldn't. And that was the beginning of what should have been a tough defense to go with Matt Ryan for the next 5 years.
Yep.
But it only lasted another year. And that's gonna be tough. Because when I was covering Green Bay and they went to the Super Bowl, I wasn't the main guy. It was Bob McGinn, my mentor. But I felt pretty proud to be going into Energy Stadium as the main beat writer of the NFC representative.
Hey, who do you thank for your time at the AJC? Just like that. You have an opportunity to dole out some accolades to people.
Yeah, my guys who hired me were Don Boykin and James Mallory. They both since retired. Still stay up with James. He's the managing editor of the whole paper. Don Boykin was the assistant managing editor over sports. And they hired me. And Chris Vivlamore was my pro sports editor during the Michael Vick trial. And he came back to be our sports editor during my last years here on the beat. We all knew how each other worked. We worked around the clock on the Vick trial. I'm getting calls at 2, 3 in the morning about trucks leaving from Newport News to Surrey County, Virginia. And I got to text him, and we got burner phones, and our wives are like, "What are they doing?" So we had to explain them like, "Hey, you'll see, pull it up in the morning," And so working with Chris, Ray Cox was great for me. He was before Chris as our sports editor, and Kevin Riley was our editor in chief. He, my favorite, him and Leroy, who's the editor in chief now, but Kevin called me in his office and set me down and said, "Hey, you need to start having some fun. You're filing 6 stories a day, and you're on the go. You're doing this. Hey, enjoy some of this." And so I was like, "Okay." He's like, "You kind of like you made it. You're doing a great job. Chill out a little bit, have some fun." And so we started having some more fun. And the last 10 years have been just a hoot. With helping folk out.
Now I've got a surprise for you. I know you have a stop at 3:30, so I've got a surprise for you. This is a moment that I cherish because it shows how much respect NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has for you. So I changed the audio a bit. You might have heard a difference, so that you can hear this video from NFL owners meeting. This goes back, I believe, let's see here, 3 years ago in Atlanta here. And it says the title is D. Orlando Ledbetter, Steve Weiss closed NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell press conference, NFL 2022 NFL Spring League meeting. I thought it was really nice how Roger, the relationship you have with Commissioner Goodell. Anyway, here it is.
Your first issue. Let's finish up with our host, D. Orlando Ledbetter.
Thank you. Hope everybody had a good time.
I haven't left the hotel.
The expansion or enhancement of the Rooney Rule to include the quarterback coach position. How do you all see the mechanics of that playing out, and maybe even expanding your minority coaching pipeline?
Well, I think we've been pretty open that we feel where we need to work a little bit harder is on the offensive side of the ball, because a lot of teams have stressed more the offensive coach who can develop the quarterback and develop the offensive system. So what we're trying to do with the offensive system that we put in back in March, as well as this change as far as the Rooney Rule, is to try to do everything we can to encourage that. It's from a policy standpoint, and as far as development. We actually had at least 2, maybe 3 quarterback coaches that were here as part of the accelerator program too. So I think it'll play out the same way the Rooney Rule has with respect to coordinators and special teams coordinators. I think it'll work the same way. We'll have a diverse slate, and hopefully we'll be able to get more candidates to be in that position to get hired as Falcons reporter and then head coach. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, thanks, Commissioner. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that concludes the 2022 NFL Spring League meeting. And hey, Steve, you want to take us out? What do you think about this meeting?
Yeah, look, I mean, the league spent a lot of time on the Diversity Accelerator program. Spoke to a lot of folks who participated. They said the onus is kind of on the owners to make the decisions, but they're glad they went through it and met some of the people that they never had an opportunity to meet before, including some of their other diverse colleagues in the league. They felt that was huge. Otherwise, it's kind of league business as usual. And we'll see what happens next with the Sean Watson investigation and everything else.
Catch them on NFL Network, folks. Hey, thanks, man. Great to see you. All right, see you later. Hey, see you.
Hey, man. Sorry about this. I'll leave you hanging. Yo.
Okay, see you. Yeah. Subscribe to Zennie62 and bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com. So how Commissioner loves you, man. What was all that about?
We through a lot during the quick years and great guy league. And then I was president of the Pro Football Writers for doing 13 and 15, where I had to spend a lot of time with him on access issues and so forth. And so been to parties with him at Jerry Jones's Super Bowl party in Canton. Me and Roger were hanging at Justin Timberlake. His security guys know me, so and he introduced me in 2024 at the Combine at the Hall of Fame when I got my award. So the commissioner knew I understand the beat, and always be respectful of him and his position, and been a good ally for me here over the years, and I've always applauded the work he's done and growing the league and growing the revenue for the owners, and they have too. I don't understand why the people boo the man at the draft. I'm usually cheering for Roger, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job moving forward.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about the other side of him. I met him from the perspective of trying to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland, and I remember when I had my first NFL presentation, actually my first in-office NFL presentation meeting, when Commissioner Tagliabue, rest in peace, invited us to present our plan at a meeting that was May 10th, 2000 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And so I arrived early. I was nervous and everything else. And, I had this, KTVU had made this Super Bowl video for us and all this stuff. And I was trying to figure out the machine. I was a good 45 minutes early. Joe Brown call me in his office to talk to me
Mhm.
and meet face to face. And I didn't quite know what I was doing. All of a sudden, this dude with red hair stepped out, and it was Roger Goodell.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he was then the NFL executive vice president for football operations.
Right.
And as the late Al Cosell told me, rest in peace, they said, yeah, they're grooming him to be commissioner.
Right.
But he couldn't have been nicer and also supportive, and he was there because when just later that day, not too much later, when the meeting was supposed to start at 2, Jerry Brown didn't show up until 20 minutes later.
Mhm.
So Jerry walks in, and Jerry, the first thing, I'm here, Paul is on my right, and there's an empty chair for Jerry on the left. And Jerry walks in with Phil Tagami. They're both, it was an Oakland friend of mine, Oakland developer. And he
Mhm.
says, and I quote, Paul, what do you think of Zennie's cockamamie idea?
Mhm.
And Commissioner, and Roger was sitting right over there, and Roger went like that. And Paul said, I think it's great. And the cockamamie idea was basically just having a sponsor pay for the east side of the Coliseum for the Super Bowl. That was it, you know?
Right.
So,
Now they do that.
yeah, right. Thank you. So it was, I mean, I can't say enough about how supportive the league has been. Frankly, the guys who do look like us, because, even though I don't know what's going on in terms of how they're doing media, and I think it can be worked out and straightened out. I can't say enough for the NFL allowing me to develop Zennie 62 media within it, and that's exactly what happened. And meet people like you, because you're part of history. You're as much a part of history to me as Steve Sable is of NFL films. That's how I see you.
Well, that's awesome, Zennie. I really appreciate that, and keep telling stories and shining the lights on places and things that the fans want to see. And we'll figure out how we're gonna move forward
Oh,
here over the
definitely.
next couple of
Yeah.
weeks. Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna work hard to do you proud. Don't worry.
All right, all right.
All right, man. Hey, you
Thank
gotta
you.
come back too. So.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Got a lot of time now.
All right, boss. I'm going to shut this down. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. Please share this and comment. And that ends this broadcast. Please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to Zennie62 on YouTube and bookmark NFL News by Zennie62.com. And by the way, we have 3 new NFL websites. NFL Red Carpet, NFL Draft Redcarpet.com. Yes, we own the URL. NFL Draft Player Rankings.com, and NFLBigDataBall.com, and more coming. So like I said, I'm making a pitch for this legend that's gracing my presence right now. But right now, I want to get him on his rate in a smart fashion. So that ends this stream. Thank you all very much. D, you don't have to move a muscle. Thanks. Hey, how was that, man?